NBA draft and free agency rumors are starting to heat up, and we are going to break this down on the third New York Knicks Digest Livestream. So let's jump right into it. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's the third live stream. I kind of just threw this together at the last minute, but there's a lot of free agency rumors. Fred Katz dropped a bomb on a bunch of guys the New York Knicks could be targeting for free agency with their mid-level exception deal, which is around $11.2 million that the Knicks will have to spend. Those are contracts that they'll be getting $11.2 million per year. It's what they did to get Donte DiVincenzo. So clearly these contracts mean a lot. You can get a very valuable role player. The New York Knicks clearly know what they're doing. They landed DiVincenzo, who has been nothing short of fantastic for the Knicks. Had the greatest three-point shooting season in New York Knicks history this year. So clearly this is something that could be huge for the Knicks, and we are going to jump right into that. So Fred Katz talked a lot about a lot of different things. What up, Nostalgic Nick? What's up, New York Forever? I know you come in and say, like, Nets are better and all that stuff, but you're giving me the views. You're giving me some likes. You're giving all that stuff, so I really don't mind it at all. But y'all comment down below anything you guys want to see, as always. But there is a lot of different free agents that the New York Knicks could potentially target, according to a recent article from Fred Katz of The Athletic, the New York Knicks beat writer. And you know what? Right now, I'm competing a lot with the Roommates podcast themselves because they released their Tom Thibodeau podcast episode today, and I cannot wait to watch that. I probably should have watched it before I jumped on here, but you know what? What are you going to do? Already live, can't turn around now, so we're just going to keep on pushing forwards. But guys, the New York Knicks have the opportunity to add another great role player to their team within the next few months because of summer, because the fact that teams are going to be looking, teams that are contending, like the New York Knicks, are going to be looking at these mid-tier players who they can give somewhere between $5 and like $12 million to for that taxpayer mid-level exception. Or not taxpayer. I don't know the difference, and I've looked it up so many times. I cannot figure that thing out. I think I have a mental block against it. But according to Fred Katz, and we'll go through these names again, but to do it the first time, there's guys like Tyus Jones, Derrick Jones Jr., Royce O'Neal, Valanciunas, Monte Morris, Kyle Lowry, who they should not give a mid-level exception to on any circumstances. He's way too old. Kyle Anderson, who could be an interesting fit. Gordon Hayward, who I don't want because the injuries, Kevon Looney, and that I think could happen in one specific scenario that I think we're going to talk about a lot on this episode. And then also Goga Bitadze, who's someone else who, well, the Knicks could target. If the main thing that I really want to talk about with you guys could potentially happen, look, I understand the free agency. It's a stressful time, especially for teams. You hate watch this channel. Well, you're still watching it. Still making me money. I really fully believe that when you look at the New York Knicks, when you look at what they've done up to this point, everything has worked really well. We can't give Kelly Oubre $20 million. We just don't have that kind of money. The most we could give a player is around $12 million through that mid-level exception. Now, also, on top of that, if you look at guys like Jonas Valanciunas, if you look at guys like, not Nick Claxton, he's going to get more than that. But if you look at Goga Bitadze or Kevon Looney, there's a reason why you're looking at that. And that is because you lost Isaiah Hartenstein in free agency. Now, I think that is a likely possibility for the Knicks. I do think Hartenstein will resign, same thing as OG. But something we have to do on this channel, because I've gotten a few requests to do it, and I think it'd be pretty interesting, is let's talk about the possibilities of what happens if the New York Knicks, well, say they lose OG and Hartenstein. I don't think they're going to lose OG. I think it's more likely they lose Hartenstein, even though I don't think that'll happen. You hate the Knicks, chat, but because you like me, that's pretty sick. I appreciate that, bro. Dude, thank you. I appreciate that. I try to make these videos entertaining. I try to communicate well. Honestly, the way I do it is, like, just for a little key inside in case you're wondering, because you've been really cool despite being a Nets fan, is, that's fine. You can be a Nets fan. You and your 9 other Nets fans, y'all can do your thing. I actually do kind of like Barclays Center as much as I make fun of it for being a really, like, literally dark arena because you guys painted the walls black. But, like, I do try to make these videos in a way where it's like we're holding a conversation. Like, I'm obviously not going to know how all of you guys are going to reply, but I try to at least hit some grouping of people. Like, say a report comes out, and I'm completely just pulling this out of my head. Like, this is not a real thing. But say there's some report where I have to break down a story where it's like, the New York Knicks are apparently interested in Paul George and want to work out a sign-and trade involving Mitchell Robinson, OG Anunoby's trade exception, that type stuff. Add in, what's his name? Bojan Bogdanovic. I'm off my game right now, guys. And they want to add in Bojan and 2 firsts with Mitchell Robinson and that OB trade exception to acquire Paul George was going to opt in and the Knicks are going to give him an extension. And then I'm talking about, like, and I would rather the Knicks not pay Paul George long-term money. So, again, I'm pulling this. This is not a real thing. I'm just completely pulling this out of thin air. But it's like, if I'm saying, oh, yeah, well, I think he actually would fit well because he gets to focus more defensively than he has been able to in a very long time. He can spot up more. There's less pressure on him, which will probably lead to less injuries happening to him. And then I have to take the response of, I know people aren't going to like him, so in the process, I'm like, and I get it. At the same time, he's injury prone. Do we really want to give a guy that much money when we have other guys to pay? Do we even like Paul George because of the way he plays in the playoffs? Would he even want to leave LA? Would he be happy in New York? All that stuff, like, I try to give the response to what a group of people is going to say. Like, basically what I think my best counter argument is going to be, I'm going to try to bring that out to explain to someone who may feel the opposite of me. Like, I try to get it to be some discourse. I try to respond to as many comments as humanly possible so we could just continue talking about basketball, and I can learn more from y'all. Y'all can learn more from me. It'll be a fun time. So I appreciate you saying that I'm entertaining and a great communicator. You've been in here for a minute, just in general. You've pulled up a lot. We have 67 people watching right now. Tell your friends, get on the Knicks Digest live stream. We're going to have some fun with it. Let's have a night, guys. Thursday night. It's almost Friday. We're almost there. Can't wait for that weekend. But right now, we got Knicks to talk, baby. So look, I'm going to go through this list again, and we're going to talk a bit about each player. The first one is Tyus Jones. Now, I don't mind Tyus Jones as a player. I really don't. I think he's a fine player. But at the same time, when you look at Tyus Jones, does he want to come here and play 10, 15 minutes a night? Probably not. And do the Knicks really want to go that small with their bench? Because this is a world where Bogdanovic gets traded, so there could be, like, you know, space on the roster, or they just bench Bojan. Because honestly, they have a fine top 9 right now. Obviously, they do need to deepen their bench unit. So maybe they give 2 smaller mid-level exceptions out. And that's where a guy like Monte Morris comes into play as someone who's on this list, who maybe the Knicks could give $6 million to with a team option on the second year, some non-guaranteed 2-year deal. And then you have him as kind of that 10th man ready to come in and be a solid player, though that's why you have Shake Milton, who I think is cheaper. Derrick Jones, you'd have to give most of that money to, and he'd be nice off the bench. The Knicks actually showed interest in Derrick Jones last season in around October of 2023 before the Mavs picked him up, and clearly they should have, because Jones has been a role player on a team that went to the NBA Finals. No matter how this Finals went for Dallas, they still got there, which is impressive, and Derrick Jones Jr. was a starter on that team. You got guys like Royce O'Neal, who you'd have to give most of the money to. It would be a great fit, would probably be a better fit than Bojan Bogdanovic, honestly. But if you could get someone like Royce on your team, like, you're giving most of your money there, but maybe a Monte Morris, maybe a Kyle Lowry, you give half the money to them and then throw some forward, maybe Gordon Hayward then, because it's like, hey, he's not even going to be in the rotation that much anyway, so he's more of an injury replacement, which would be huge for us. So I think you could do something like that. Then obviously Kyle Anderson, I think, would be a nice fit with the Knicks. The lack of a shot worries me, especially on that bench unit, because you look at it, Josh Hart, it depends on which version we're going to see of Josh Hart. Are we going to see playoffs Josh Hart with the way that guy's shooting? Or are we going to see regular season Josh Hart when he's got a broken jumper, in his own words? And then you also have Deuce, who is a 40% three-point shooter. But outside of that, you're not going to have much, especially if you're getting a guy to replace Bojan Bogdanovic. If you get a guy like Kyle Anderson to replace him, you're really weakening the shooting. You're strengthening your defense and arguably your play as a whole, but you're weakening that shooting on the bench a lot. Now, also, you have to take in draft picks to account. Where are they going to fit in? Now, if you look at a guy like a Ryan Dunn, or you look at Kel'el Ware, you look at Kyle Filipowski, who the Knicks might have some interest in. Like, you see some guys who are not going to be afraid to shoot that ball from deep when it comes to Filipowski and Ware, who are bigger people. So that's going to be a huge part of it. And then Ryan Dunn, he's not a shooter at all. He's someone who I think the Knicks would like to do that slow burn development. He's a little older, but anyway, he's a CAA client. The guy went to Virginia. I honestly think the Knicks are going to come away with this draft with Ryan Dunn. Say they just don't trade 24 and 25. I put a poll out earlier where it was like, do you want the New York Knicks to trade picks 24 and 25 and trade up in the draft, or would you rather them keep those picks? Now, obviously, there's the other option of, oh, they trade in the future so they could keep assets, and that's a completely different story. But I wanted to take that out of the equation. I wanted to come at you guys like, okay, what if they drafted? Like, what if they decided to actually draft? And I'm just going to randomly vote on my phone. Yeah, it's around 50-50 entirely with 91 votes. I would love if the Knicks traded up in this draft, but the problem is this draft is so weak, it's hard to tell who's going to pan out and who's not. Shake is $5 million a year, but yeah, Shake's an unrestricted free agent. Jets for life. Why did he come? No, he can stay, even if he doesn't. He said he's here because he likes hearing me talk, so that works for me. He can stay Jet fan for life, or Jet life for life. Jet life for life. How we doing? How's our New York Jets team looking? Give me your thoughts. Me too, Dunn. Yeah, dude, I like Ryan Dunn as a prospect. Like, I really do. I think he's a very, very solid player. His defense is great. I could see him developing into an OG Anunoby. What that depends on getting is really just that jump shot. Because he can't shoot right now. The man does not have a jump shot at all. It is a broken jumper. The Knicks would have to work on that extensively. But when you look at Deuce came in with a broken jumper. Now he's shooting 40% from deep in season 3? So clearly the Knicks can develop him. It's not like they're not going to be able to develop anyone. They can easily take Ryan Dunn and be like, hey, we need you to become a good shooter, or you're never going to get consistent minutes with us. We're going to play in the G League at some point so you can keep getting minutes, keep getting burned. That's what the Knicks did with Deuce. The Knicks are very good at treating their G League team like it is an absolute minor league baseball team. And I mean that so positively. They put their young players down there who aren't exactly making the day-to-day rotation. You're throwing them down in the G League the same way that a baseball team would throw their non-day-to-day young players in the AAA. It's like, we need you to get burned. We need you to get experience. The only way that you're going to develop, the best way to develop you, is to have you play the sport that you're hired to play. You're not going to get that much better just sitting on the bench. You're just going to get rusty. There's no need for that. And the Knicks have been very good at that. They were great with Deuce with that for all this time when Deuce was in the rotation, out of the rotation, and then quickly gets traded. Then RJ gets traded. And look what happens. Deuce's minutes come. The Knicks, because they did that, were able to give him a bargain of a contract for their right. Now Deuce McBride is on a contract that he is severely underpaid on, one of the most underpaid role players in the NBA, and that's because the Knicks didn't really play him until he got into that groove, until he got an opportunity. G League, Dunn, like Deuce. Exactly. Like, if you do that, if you add Dunn to the G League, you're like, look, you're going to learn how to score the ball because we're going to put you in the G League. That has a lot of NBA players. The G League is not what it was 10 years ago. It is far better than what it used to be. People treat the G League very seriously now. Almost half the NBA has played in the G League at one point or another now. Things are different than they were in the past. If you're a second-round player, you're not sitting on the end of the bench if you're a good franchise. You're throwing that player in the G League and saying, you're going to get minutes. You're going to learn how to play. You are going to develop. You are going to understand what it's like to play with the ball in your hands. So when that happens in the NBA, you're not just thrown into a fire without having any idea how to get out of it. You do that, you add him to the G League, he'll get so much better. Jacob Toppin, exactly. He balled out. And, I wish we saw more out of Toppin in the regular season, but these injuries, they didn't happen till all the way at the end of the year where it's like, okay, well, you can't throw a guy who's hardly ever played in the NBA into a playoff rotation. It just wouldn't make sense. I feel like they should have given Daquan Jeffries a bit more of a chance just to, relax things. They definitely should have given Shake Milton a little more time, even though they were running small to begin with, so adding in Shake, you're probably playing him at a wing spot, and he's more of a guard than anything else. Let's see. Me too, Don. Salute to the channel. Salute to the chat in the channel. I'll give you a super chat right now. So there's your super chat. Evan Best, you've been here. You've been rocking with our channels. There's one or two guys that I really want to pull up here who I see in the comments a lot, and I'm just like, where are y'all at? Why are you guys not on the live? But you know what? We got some of the typical live stream, guys. We got some regulars like New York Forever, Nostalgic Nick, Evan Best. Y'all three have put out for the community for a bit. Y'all been here. We're on the grind. I've been kind of lazy this week with videos. I won't even lie. This microphone I'm using is hella screwed up right now. So I got a new one. I'm going to hook that up. I'll be back to pumping out 2 to 3 videos a day because honestly, it's just kind of fun. And it's the only way to stay in the groove. If you stop doing it for one day, it's hard to get back into it. So you just got to keep on grinding, man. We got 66 people watching. Yo, tell your friends. Where's this Knicks Digest community at? I don't know where these guys all went right now, but you know what? It's okay. We good. Honestly, ask me some questions down below. I got some stuff that we could talk about for sure, but it's also just easier when, you guys are giving me things. Let's check out this new Bleacher Report mock draft because we're going to jump right into some free agent stuff now, or some draft stuff right before free agency. Draft happens before free agency anyway, so I'm thinking we do some draft stuff, then we're going to talk replacements for OG and Hartenstein in a bit. Wow, Jalen Brunson. Y'all see the difference between Jalen Brunson when he was on Taylor Rooks' show and when Tibbs was on his show? Brunson got dressed up for Taylor Rooks. These players, they get dressed up for her. They really do. Not too many of them are getting dressed up for Rachel Nichols like that, except Jimmy Butler. Thanks, Nostalgic Nick. I'm a big fan of you, too. Yo, shout out to the dude I literally met in a bar the other week. So I'm in this bar in the East Village of Manhattan, and I didn't even realize some guys kind of looking at me because I'm not paying any attention. And he comes up to me, he's like, "Yo, you look familiar." And I do not have the gall to be like, "Oh yeah, you probably know me from YouTube." Because imagine he says no. He's like, "Oh no, not that. You just look like my friend. I don't watch your sports YouTube channel." Then I just feel like the biggest idiot in there. So I'm like, can't do that. But he's like, "Are you a Knicks fan?" And I'm like, "Let's go." So that dude was cool. He knows my cousin or something, which was kind of random. Predictions for star free agents. What will OG Anunoby do in free agency? We're going through some Bleacher Report articles, seeing what the analysts have to say. Oh, the first thing they said is that IQ signs an offer sheet with a different team. Do y'all want IQ to stay in Toronto? I kind of do. It gives him a starting point guard job, and I'm always a fan of him. That's my guy. I think he's got another massive, massive leap that he can take. Paul George picks up his player option. I think Paul George is opting out. I honestly think he's going to opt out and use the 76ers as massive leverage just to get a bigger deal with the Clippers. I don't think he's going anywhere, and we do not want Paul George on the 76ers because that team could be very dangerous if they happen to stay healthy, which obviously it'd be pretty surprising if they stayed healthy, but there's always a chance that they do, and then that team could give the Knicks some real hell in the playoffs. Now, obviously, the Knicks beat Julius Randle the Knicks beat the Philadelphia 76ers without Julius Randle. So, I'm not that concerned, but still. It's predicted that OG is going to sign, according to Bleacher Report, it's predicted that OG will sign for less than the max. That is good stuff right there. Oubre's not a bad defender. What are you guys saying? Bro, what's up with the wavy-looking hat? Dude, it's just this Yankee hat. I bought it towards the end of my time in college last year. It's a Yankee hat. It was hot out, and it was really sunny, and I just wanted a hat, honestly. So I went into the mall, went to the Lids, and I got a big head, dude. I'm just a large person in general. I'm a massive human being, so it's all hats are gonna look small on me anyway. So that's why this one looks small, and this is a larger sized one size fits all hat or something. I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm getting the fitted, getting the gray Yankee fitted. It's also nice because it's the mesh. It's a mesh hat, so it's I could just be on a beach or something, just throw this thing right back on when my hair's wet. It's a nice hat. You can swim in it. It's vibes, honestly. That's really what it is. And then I usually keep my hair short, so whenever my hair gets kind of long, I just throw the hat on. When the hat's short, I'll sometimes, or when the hair's short, I'll sometimes do videos without the hat on. But honestly, I just kind of like the hat. It's kind of become a thing. Also, I'm going to do Yankees Digest in a week or two, so got to put on, represent for the brand until we get some Knicks Digest and Yankees Digest merch. But we're not big enough for merch right now. Oubre, Booker, Cat. Well, there's been a lot of cat noise. The Knicks are probably going to check into his availability again, but are you really going to go somewhere without and move Julius Randle for a contract that's so big like Cat? Because you got to move Julius then, who fits really well on the team. You're moving him for Towns, who didn't look too good in the playoffs. I understand that Julius Randle has had his playoff struggles, But when you look at Towns, you really want to give him that much money to not be better than Julius Randle and just be a better shooter? I don't think that makes much sense. I don't want to pay Oubre $13.5 million to play 18 minutes. Cat is perfect for Brunson. Yeah, but look at the way he played in the playoffs. Like, he didn't do well. He had a really underwhelming playoffs once again. And I get Randle didn't play well, but it's different. Randle was playing on a bum ankle. Randle did fit with Brunson. He did. In January, Randle and Brunson kept each putting up 30 together. They just didn't both fit when RJ was on the court, and we only saw Randle with the new look Knicks for a very short period of time before, he went down with the shoulder injury and didn't come back. It's all CAA. Yeah, it's all in the family. That's the thing. But Randle's back with CAA. Yeah, Oubre did sign with CAA. I don't know his exact agent with CAA. I think the Knicks will look into Oubre, and if no one gives him a deal, that's what Oubre wants, like 15 plus. I think the Knicks will throw their $12 million at him for like 3 years with a player option on that third and be like, hey man, you're kind of going to bet on yourself. You're going to put yourself right into your prime to get a nice big contract. If you ball out with us, you're an elite defender. We saw you give Brunson hell. We want that on our team. We want you to be on this bench unit. We want you to replace Bojan Bogdanovic, except you're going to get more minutes than he did. Like, you'll effectively be, well, Josh Hart will be the sixth man, but he'll be right up there with minutes. And then you got Deuce and you got Mitch rounding out the bench, and Mitch and Hartenstein are their own entity completely. So it's like he'll get, probably around 18 minutes, and $12 million per year for 18 minutes. That's kind of what we initially brought DiVincenzo in to do, if you think about it. So there's a method to the madness for sure. I did very well in the playoffs. He just had one bad. Well, I mean, he still played underwhelmingly. And it's like, are we really going to take a risk on that guy who has had underwhelming playoffs in the past and kept fouling out of elimination games for a guy who's so much cheaper and is a better player than Towns? Randle and Brunson take turns operate. Dude, they each put up 30 like 9 different times in January. Say what you want about how they're getting those 30. They're each putting up 30. Like, that's going to help. Oubre loves MSG. That's a fact. He's also close by in the area already. Cat played well versus the Nuggets. Yeah, but again, you go into the Western Conference Finals. He didn't play well. And there's a lot bigger of a problem because Cat's got a lot of years left. If Randle doesn't play as well in the playoffs and you don't want to bring him back, or you don't want to spend that much money, you sign him to a cheaper deal. Randle's deal is almost up anyway. You have to understand how much not being in that second apron is going to matter in making a winning team. You do not want to be in that second apron under any costs. That will absolutely put a huge damper on your situation, no matter who you are, no matter what team you are. That's why the Timberwolves are in trouble. There's only so much they can do right now because they're going to hit that second apron, and it's going to be hard to add role players to that team. I mean, look at the Nuggets. They were the best team in the NBA, but they're paying so much money that they couldn't afford to keep Jeff Green. They couldn't afford to keep Bruce Brown. And instead of having one of the best benches in the NBA, they didn't have a bench really at all. Like, it was just led by Christian Brown, Reggie Jackson, and Peyton Watson. That's not a good enough bench to win an NBA Finals with. So I don't really want to be near that second apron for Karl Anthony Towns. I don't think he's worth getting in that sticky cap situation when you're going to have to pay DiVincenzo and Josh Hart also. It's like in the near future, when you're going to have to pay Brunson in the near future, I don't really want to risk a ton of stuff on Karl Anthony Towns. It worries me a lot. Playoffs is different. Teams don't game plan for Randle. You game plan for Cat. Okay, good. Then why would we want a player being game planned for when the only time Randle's ever really played in extended playoffs is when he had that ankle injury? Like, I'm really not that concerned about Randle's playoff performances. Like, he carries this Knicks team, probably burns himself out in the process of getting them to the 4th seed, and then he plays a team when the Knicks were just so much worse than them. I don't really think that makes the most sense. We brought Brock Aller here to operate above the cap. Yes, understandably so. But is he going to be able to get us out of a second apron when we have Karl Anthony Towns and keep a contender? I really don't think so. Like, how are they supposed to do that, realistically? It just doesn't seem like it will make sense. They're going to lose people. What up, Hero? What's good, bro? I agree. They should run it back with Randle. We don't want Towns. I agree. The answer is Zach LaVine. Why is he the answer? I don't want Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine's got $40 million. I'll take Zach LaVine if we can get, like, a future first from the Bulls, and we'll throw him. I don't even know what we'll give him. I don't want to give him anything for Zach LaVine. Give him Boyan, and that still leaves you $20 million short. Who the hell are you getting rid of? Like, Boyan and Mitch for Zach and, like, 2 firsts and a pick swap. If I'm getting 3 first-rounders out of it, I'm doing it, but I'm not eating that Zach LaVine contract. Let the Pistons do that. They need perimeter shot creation anyway. He's a regular season. We have not seen enough out of Julius Randle in my mind to call him someone who's only good in the regular season. Yeah, I agree. I'll never take Zach. Cat came off an MCL tear. Yeah, he has been dealing with some injuries. He's also played badly in prior playoffs. He fouled out of 2 straight elimination games last year. Like, historically, Karl-Anthony Towns has not been to the point where the Knicks should trade Randle and draft picks for Karl-Anthony Towns. That doesn't make much sense. I don't see why we would give draft picks for Towns. You could get someone better. Not the biggest fan of Randle, but he was playing within the system before he got injured. It was working. Like, that's the thing. That team in January was working. I don't want to make some massive shift to that team. You kind of have to see what's going to happen. Now, if you can get someone who's just so good, you say screw it, you do that. But Towns is not good enough to say screw that. Let's not look into what we had in January. He's 30 years old. What do you mean? Yeah, he's played in 2 playoffs. He's played in 2 playoffs. He's not at the point where you can judge his entire career because he's been in 2 playoffs. One of them he was probably burnt out and just, again, played a Hawks team that was fully ready for him, knowing there was no other legit scoring option on the Knicks. And it's not common to see players who are the only scoring option carrying their team to not play well in the playoffs. He's not the first person for that to happen to. And then the ankle completely messed up his playoffs last year anyway. We've seen Randle for 5 years. What else do you think he's going to do? I don't know. Make more All-NBA teams and All-Star teams. He's made 3 of them for the All-Star. He would have made 3 All-NBA teams. Probably that. We're probably going to see more than that, honestly. Like, I'd take that. I'll take that. January's 1 month. Let it go. Let it go for Karl-Anthony Towns doesn't make sense. Again, if they can get someone who's actually, better than Towns, better than Julius Randle, then yeah, I'll do it. But I'm not trading Randle and picks for Towns under any circumstances. That doesn't make any sense. To ruin your finances, to add a guy who has not been great in the playoffs is really confusing to do, while also ruining your draft capital. We need to get Bridges. I'd love McHale. I don't think we're going to trade for him. I just don't. I think the way you look at things, it's like the Knicks want someone better than McHale, and they're convinced they can sign McHale in a few years anyway. I mean, they're 2 years away from McHale being a free agent. He's not going to go back to Brooklyn. The Knicks can probably figure out a way to sign and trade him as long as Brock Aller's still here. It sounds like he probably isn't going to be going to Charlotte, so he'll probably be in New York. No, he's not. He's not better than Randle at everything. He's just not. He's a better shooter. That's it. He's just a better shooter. And I'm not really convinced that he's the second best player on a championship team. Look at the numbers. Yeah, he's a better shooter. Within the mindset of being the second. Exactly. We have not seen that. So why are we going to try to blow everything up for a guy who's not proven like Karl-Anthony Towns? I get Randle's not proven, but you're not. You really want to give picks and Julius Randle for Karl-Anthony Towns? The human turnstile on defense? The man can't defend anything. I don't want that on a Thibodeau team. I don't want Karl-Anthony Towns on a Tom Thibodeau team. I don't think that makes sense. I just do not. I don't care if he's 50, 40, 90. That does not mean that you move Randle and draft picks for him. It just means he can shoot. That's what 50, 40, 90 means. It means he can shoot. Yes, Cat is soft. He's not a winner. I would love Eric Gordon on the vet min. That would be sick. You guys might see some random animations right now. I have to look something up. But I don't know. Randle is Randle's and Aaron Gordon's not an all-star or a multi-all-NBA player. That's the difference. Cat doesn't exactly, Nelly. Now, Cat does not move the needle. Mentally, Randle has shown weakness. Yes, so is Towns. So it's like, I don't see what the point is here. I'm not saying Towns is bad. I'm saying I don't see the point of moving Julius Randle for a guy that averages less points and rebounds than Julius Randle when both are second options. I just don't see the point in that. That does not make any sense to me. He's also not 50, 40, 90. He doesn't shoot 90% from the free throw line. That's just a lie. And I don't trust him in the playoffs. He keeps fouling out of games. Like, he fouled out in 2 back-to-back elimination games. I'm not going to trust that. A guy whose numbers went down in the playoffs. Shot 36% from 3 in the playoffs and 46% from the field. When RJ Barrett was shooting like that, we were concerned. So I'm really not ready to throw everything at Karl Anthony Towns at all. Especially because he's averaging, for his career, 3.6 personal fouls in the playoffs, and in back-to-back years, averaged 4.2 personal fouls in the playoffs. The guy's fouling like crazy. He fouls out of playoff games. I do not want that, because Randle won't do that. I know Cat played for Tibbs. I don't want that to happen again. I don't think it works. That team clearly didn't work. That Tibbs team clearly did not work. The Knicks have a bunch of guys who are hard-nosed players who are better than they feel like they should be. Karl Anthony Towns is worse than he should be because he's 7 feet tall and can shoot as well as basically anyone who's ever been that tall. And a pick, they're not doing that. They're not trading Cat for Bojan Bogdanovic, Julius Randle, and a first-round pick. It would be Randle and like 4 first-rounders. That's the problem. Why the hell would they do that? But you trust Randle? Yeah, I trust Randle. Need some water. Talking for a while. How long have we been going? We've been going for a bit yet? We've been going for 40 minutes. Damn. Time flies when we're talking Knicks, man. He's not. I agree. He's not better than Randle. I just don't see it. He's awkward. Holy. What up, Rudy Pooty? Message retracted. If you get Towns play him at center, yeah, and then our defense falls to pieces, though. That's the problem. And I think Towns is more of a center. I think he's one of those players that you have to add some, like, tall shot blocker to the team who could just act as the defender, kind of the way that Aaron Gordon does it, except Aaron Gordon's not exactly a shot blocker. He's just a great defender. Team protected first. I would love Jimmy on this team. Don't get me wrong. But there is no way in hell Pat Riley trades Jimmy Butler to the New York Knicks. That is just not going to happen. I'm only trading... Yeah, I'd trade Randle for Giannis or Devin Booker pretty easily. I'd throw Randle in picks at either of those teams. Like with Giannis, I would throw Randle, Mitch, Deuce, 4 or 5 firsts for Giannis easy. Any day. Giannis and Brunson is the only duo with 2 guys who are superstar level best player and a championship team level players. Or Brunson appears to be one, and Giannis we know is one. So I think something like that makes sense. Thank you, Nostalgic Nick. I appreciate that. But yeah, like, I trust Randle too. Yeah, he's been making more than JB re-up this summer. Genuine question. What team has their second best player making more than their all-star player? All right, well, Jaylen Brown, who's going to win Finals MVP, is, regarded as the second best player on the Boston Celtics. He's who comes to mind. I would also, I don't know, anyone else really? I don't think so. Not on a team that matters. That's for sure. If you're thinking about teams that actually matter to basketball, who are good and not at the bottom, it's like, oh well, the Charlotte Hornets actually their second best player gets paid. It's like, well, they suck and they're not going to be good anytime soon because LaMelo Ball will never stay healthy. It's just not going to happen. But yeah, I honestly think the way things are going, it feels like the Knicks are going to end up running it back. Clearly, if a trade happens, it's going to be a surprise move. Because have we ever not be surprised by a New York Knicks Leon Rose trade? We had no idea this OG thing was coming. It was in the middle of a lawsuit between teams. And we all thought that Masai Ujiri hated us. And then after that trade came out, there was that video of William Wesley and Masai Ujiri dapping each other up, hugging it out, being like, yo, catching up. Minnesota needs to trade Cat because of financial reasons. I know they do, yeah. Alex Rodriguez and Mark Lore and the famous person whose name I'm blanking on just joined their buying group or whatever, but they don't want to pay luxury tax, and no team wants to pay that second apron. Why would we pay that second apron instead? Why would we want to do that? I don't want to go into the second apron. Then we're not going to be able to retain our role players. We're not going to be able to use mid-level exceptions. We're not going to be able to use trade exceptions. We're eventually going to get our picks moved to the back of the draft. There's so much stuff that happens if you hit that second apron. Karl Anthony Towns is nowhere near worth hitting that. It just doesn't make sense. They also need more playmaking. Well, yeah, but that doesn't have to be our problem. I would rather just keep Julius, honestly. I think that just makes way more sense to keep Julius Randle. Keep him here. Honestly, I think you just stand pat unless you see something happen. Like, Devin Booker's not going anywhere. Not yet. I think it'll take another year. Kevin Durant could request the trade. That could shake things up. If he does, then maybe Booker does, and then the Knicks strike for Booker. But KD would have to already get traded for a package. That's a bummer for Devin Booker to ask out. Like, KD requests a trade, and then the Warriors trade, like, I don't know, what makes it even salary? Because you go Wiggins and Jonathan Kuminga, and then if you need any more salary filler, you just do that with, like, 2 draft picks. And then Devin Booker's going to look at this team and be like, nope, they suck, get me out of here. And that's when the Knicks can trade for him. So your hope is that KD asks out and the Warriors prounce for him to try to bring KD back there. So then you can just then go for Devin Booker. Because I don't think a KD Warriors team still can win the finals. I think they're past their prime. Though that would make them very good once again. Having the Warriors 4 back together, or well, not the real Warriors 4 because the real one is Iguodala instead of KD, but having the 4 remaining members of the Hamptons 5, that death lineup, back on the court, I don't think it's the same. Like, Draymond's not the same. He wants to be punching people and choking people out. Steph clearly still wants to win and is great. KD still wants to win and is great. But Clay's falling apart. You'd have to give so much that you're not really going to have too many role players outside of Pods and Modus Moody. Like that time when Kendrick Perkins just couldn't say Moses Moody for like 10 seconds. If you've never found that, look that up after this live stream ends. It's really funny. He's like, Modi Moody, Modi Modi. It's just Kendrick Perkins at his best. Sign OG and iHeart, extend Jay Bree. Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I don't see any reason why not to run it back this year, unless depending on what other teams do. If another team in the East makes themselves way better too, it's like, okay, we have to do something, then do something. But the Knicks, I don't think any of their moves this summer are going to be actionary moves. I think they're going to be reactionary moves, and that's fine. You're going to have to wait to see how this shakes out, how free agency shakes out. Make sure LeBron goes back to LA and doesn't do anything strange that'll shake the landscape of the NBA once again. Make sure Paul George goes back to the Clippers. Go from there. Because free agency is not that big of a thing anymore. So you go from there. Outside of that, no free agent is going to really shake the world up that much. That is going to be a massive problem. You see who asks out of their team. iHeart is not getting extended. It fully depends on if a team wants to offer him $20 million or not. Maybe the Thunder do, but I don't see the Thunder starting both him and Chet consistently. And then Hartenstein so often is going to be on the bench at the end of games, and you're like, why the hell did we pay this guy over $20 million per year? So we might not have to pay him $72 million. That's just the max that we could pay him. There's a world where he doesn't gain enough interest for us to have to pay him $72 million. And I hope that's what happens, because, yeah, it's a lot for Isaiah Hartenstein. Now, he does help the Knicks win. His plus-minus is very positive. There's a lot of good things about Isaiah Hartenstein's game, don't get me wrong, that would keep me interested in keeping him around. That's OG stats. Do we have Hartenstein? There's Hartenstein. There we go. Now we're cooking. Yeah, Hartenstein's putting up 8 points, 8.3 rebounds, 2.5 assists. Got a great defensive box plus-minus and a great value over replacement player. That 64% from the field is solid. He's not fouling too much per game. He's getting over 2 stocks per game, which is not bad. He's got a very good opponent field goal percentage at the rim. There's reasons to want to keep Hartenstein around. Now with OG, since we already pulled the stats up, we might as well just talk about him. Guy's getting around 15 points per game with 4.2 rebounds. Shooting excellently on corner threes. Absolutely incredibly on corner threes, honestly. Great spot-up shooter who doesn't need the ball, as can be seen below his height and weight and age or whatever it is. And then just a great shooter overall. Rockets would play in Minnesota. I just come back to that, to Rockets would play in Minnesota. Oh, Rockets Jokibitis. Yeah. Wait, rather just get Plumlee and bring in Cat and Ware? I mean, there's still a financial problem. What Katz getting paid is more than what Julius Randle plus that Hartenstein extension are getting paid. That's still a financial issue. I understand what you mean, though. It is a lot for Hartenstein. I get that. I'm not trying to undermine that. I honestly agree. It's a lot. If Mitch wasn't getting injured a lot, then I would absolutely be like, no, don't repay Hartenstein. Draft a center. But Mitch gets injured so much, dude, where it's worrisome. It's hard to be like, okay, well, we have Mitch for hopefully 65 games if we're lucky. Like, that would be happy, but I don't know if we're going to get that. And maybe we will, and maybe that'll be huge, and then it wouldn't matter if the Knicks ended up losing Hartenstein. But at the same time, you really think that Mitchell Robinson's going to stay healthy? The Knicks would have to do something. Bojan and Randle together make more than Cat. Well, I said Randle and Hartenstein on Hartenstein's different contract, on the updated contract, because Towns is going to be getting paid more than $60 million per year, and Randle plus Hartenstein is around 58 to 60. It's not over 60 like what Towns is about to be getting paid. So, yeah, Bojan makes a few extra million. It's hard to talk for a while without your throat getting dry, dude. In case you guys were wondering on that. Randle's a winner. Cat is not a winner. Yeah, I kind of feel like Randle has that winning mentality. I mean, even when the Knicks were terrible, he was clearly frustrated by it. He wasn't just like walking away all okay with things. No, Randle was clearly pissed off when the Knicks were bad. That's the kind of player you want on this team. Randle wants to win. He very clearly wants to win. He wants to be a winner. He wants people to look back on his career and be like, damn, that dude was a winner. He really came through for us. He was always there, always grinding it out. And frankly, and I know this doesn't mean anything because Marcus Smart deserves the championship with the Celtics, Randle deserves to be on a championship Knicks team. He does. He was the first guy to come here. Without him, Brunson probably never shows up. There's a reason why it would be great to have Julius Randle be on that championship team. Now, again, Marcus Smart deserved the championship with the Celtics, and he's not going to get one. He's going to be traded, and then 9 months later, the Celtics win the finals. So I'm not saying that means the Knicks have to keep Julius, but I am saying the man deserves the Knicks title as much as most players on the team. Not Brunson, just because Brunson's the GOAT, but like most players outside of Brunson, you got to say that Randle really deserves it. He came here when no one wanted to, stuck with us when no one else would. You got to give it to him. Mitch will be healthy for all next year. Remember Curry's first 3 seasons? Well, yeah, but they're different body types. Mitch is 7 feet tall and a high flyer. Steph Curry's a 3-point shooter. Also, Mitch is 6 years into his career, not 3. Mitch is around probably a little under halfway through. This is probably going to be Mitch's halfway point. I could see him playing around 14 seasons. We're probably halfway through the Mitchell Robinson experience, if we're being honest. So, that's all I'm saying. Did Randle get to the Eastern Conference Finals? No, because he was injured. Towns got there. It's not like Towns put him there. He just helped. This is business, yeah. And it'd be bad business to move him for a guy who's not a winner, who Jimmy Butler challenged in a practice and then folded to him. Butler made Karl Anthony Towns fold to him. If that happened with Julius Randle and Jimmy Butler, Julius would have just started swinging. They would have fought. That's the difference. Towns is not hard-bodied. He is not built in that winner mentality. I don't see it with him. There's a reason why Jimmy Butler called them out and said, y'all need me. Y'all can't win without me. It took a different player who became better than Jimmy Butler was for them to make them a winning team. It also took one of the most all-time great low-block defenders in Rudy Gobert and a veteran point guard in Mike Conley. It's not like Towns dragged him to the Eastern Conference Finals. He helped. Yeah, he helped. But they probably could have replaced him with most players who are of that stratosphere. Julius could have been on that team. They would have went to the conference finals also. I don't think that's the big difference. Stop with that Butler talk. All right, I'll just stop talking about a factual thing that happened. Like, I don't understand. Are you Karl Anthony Towns? Like, what is happening right now? Why are you so pro Towns? What did he do? I've never seen a reason to be so pro a guy who puts up 21 points per game in an NBA where 21 points per game, I don't know, say 10 years ago was like, what, 18, 17? Towns is not the greatest player in the world. He's just a tremendous shooter who happens to be tall. NBA fans have such a quick twitch to become massive, massive hype trains for these tall NBA players who could shoot because sometimes they just become all-time great. That's not Karl Anthony Towns. He's not bad. He's quite great. Made the All-Star game this year. He's better than Randle. No, he is not. Randle's not fouling out of playoff games. Randle plays defense enough compared to Towns. Randle does everything better than Towns except for shooting the basketball. That is the one difference maker. That's the one. And Randle fit with the Knicks. Are we really going to take a chance on a guy, once again, are we really going to take a chance on a guy who has zero fit with the New York Knicks that we know of, who has to understand the system and be okay with this defense? A guy who clearly is thrown off by when things are not all flowery and great? No. I want a guy with that winning mentality. I can't trust that Karl Anthony Towns has that winning mentality. Maybe he does. Randle's not in play because he is injured. Because he is injured. Like Karl Anthony Towns has been for multiple seasons now. Yeah, he got back for the playoffs, but he still missed a ton of time over these last few years. He's not the Iron Man he once was. He's just not. That has to be an accepted fact here. All right. Anyone else have things to say? Because this dude is really hogging the chat time. Not that I mind. I'm enjoying the discourse. Don't get me wrong. It's fun. Stop with Randle or Cat comparisons. Randle, exactly, dude. Like, he's on the Timberwolves. They are the best defense in the NBA. That is why he has a higher defensive rating. It's not that complicated. That's how defensive rating works. It depends on your team. If defensive rating was the number one overall stat, then the weirdest players would be viewed as the defensive player, as the best defensive player in the league. So look, here's the deal. I don't really want to talk about Karl Anthony Towns this entire time. Butler is a free agent in 2025. In 2020, you can talk about other things. It's just like, okay, well, he's out of here. Bro just came in here, literally may have been Karl Anthony Towns or a family member. Because that man defended him real hard. But, you know, fight for what you like. That's fair. Who do you guys want as a replacement to Isaiah Hartenstein? Let me know. Let's see. Who do we got? What are some options here? Who can replace Isaiah Hartenstein if he leaves? Facts. The Knicks literally beat the Timberwolves. Like, they just literally beat them. And, oh, man, they were real good. That was a good team. Patrick Williams, you like a lot. More of a replacement for OG, but still fair. We can talk Pat Williams. I mean, a guy who is restricted free agent, almost said unrestricted. James Wiseman, Knicks would have to trade for. I'm not against doing that. How do I feel about the what? What is that? Draft ED had like the Maurice Cheeks news. You got me there. I gotta look it up. You done got me. Maurice Cheeks. Oh my god, I completely missed. Oh, because I was on live when this came out. Okay, that makes sense. I was like, what are we talking about? The New York Knicks are planning to hire Maurice Cheeks as an assistant on Tom Thibodeau's coaching staff. Cheeks, a Hall of Fame guard, has been a 3-time head coach in the NBA and most recently on Billy Donovan's staff in Chicago and Oklahoma City. Look, I'm interested in the role he'll play. I'm curious if he's a replacement for someone. It does make you wonder what's going to happen with our guy, who his name I'm forgetting because I guess I'm a casual all of a sudden. Oh yeah, thumbs up, bro. With Maurice Cheeks, I hope it doesn't mean it's a replacement for oh my god, what is his name? I'm completely blanking right now. That is crazy. Maybe Looney or Drummond. I'd like Drummond, honestly. I know Drummond gets a lot of crap from people. I think he's a solid NBA center. I still think there's a chance he's the best rebounder in the NBA. He just doesn't get to show it. Yes, Johnny Bryant. Thank you. I could not remember my name for the remember his name. If I can't remember my name, we have a much bigger problem than Knicks head assistant coaches, or well, I do. True, New Yorker. Yeah, that's my fear, is that if the Knicks are hiring Maurice Cheeks, a guy who's been a head coach, it means he's probably the associate head coach instead of Johnny Bryant, which means Johnny Bryant could be leaving. That's obviously very worrisome. If I had on hand an edit of Johnny Bryant and Maurice Cheeks, I would absolutely switch this thumbnail. But too late now. What are you going to do? We're breaking the Knicks Digest story out here. So just give me a moment. I need to take some water. Daria always laughs at me so much before videos because I'm just like shoveling water. But right now, off rip, what do I got about Maurice Cheeks? You guys are going to see a little bit of the process of what I do to make a video. Except we're kind of going to do the video on here and just go from there because I don't want to separately record a video. The top comment on Reddit is he's Cheeks. That made me laugh. All right, what do we know on Johnny Bryant? Do we have good info on Johnny Bryant, ladies and gentlemen? Let me know in the comments below. Speaking facts, yeah. Wi-Fi. Oh, yeah, the Wi-Fi is struggling right now. Oh, no. Oh, no, you're talking about this guy named Bodega Wi-Fi. What up, yo? Yeah, we got some old friends in the chat. How we doing, gang? How we all doing? It's fun. We chilling in here, doing our thing. Brian, what's good? All right, we are about to basically just do what I do for New York Knicks Digest videos. Except we're doing it live stream, so you guys are not gonna get those new fancy edits that you guys sometimes see. Like, wait for it. Oh, that didn't do anything. That's a shame. I thought I was about to hit you guys with a cool edit. Like that. There we go. Look at that. Look at that bad boy. We got the new format. Let me guys know. Oh, yeah. My things say LeBron on them sometimes. I don't know how to get rid of it also. So that's a problem. Yeah. Y'all just seeing LeBron. I needed a name for something for a chapter. We're back. You guys just saw some BTS stuff. Some behind-the-scenes stuff. There it is. Y'all just saw some behind-the-scenes looks into... Wow, my boss would not be happy if he saw all that. Hey, what up, chat? Anyone catch Jalen Brunson's show today? It went live. Brunson, Josh, Tom Thibodeau, that was dope. AP, what up, dude? Yo, I was going to watch that right after I ended this. Like, I'm probably going to eat some food after this, but tonight I was planning on checking out that Brunson Tibbs podcast. I'm really looking forward to. Last I heard, he's been allowed to do interviews. Yeah, Johnny Bryant is allowed to do interviews, so I'm trying to figure out. So I just want to basically do this in video form. James Borrego did well in his interview with the Lakers. Chris Quinn and Dave Yeager have spoken with Cleveland for their head coaching. Others include Johnny Bryant. All right, guys. You ready for it? We about to do some video style stuff. So we're going to jump into it. Oh, you're back. What up, New York Forever? How you been, bro? I do like Ryan Dunn, but we actually have some Knicks news. So we're going to see me kind of intro it a little bit. Set it up. All right, 3, 2, 1. Let's do this. The New York Knicks are hiring a new head coach, and it could mean... Oh, I said head coach. Wow, see? You got to catch yourself sometimes. But the New York Knicks will be bringing in a new assistant coach who could become the associate head coach, as it appears that loved coach by the New York Knicks, Johnny Bryant, could be on his way out, with multiple rumors indicating that there are teams such as the Cleveland Cavaliers very interested in Johnny Bryant. So let's break this down right now. What's up? We're doing this on live stream. Kind of a re-intro just because I felt like doing one so you guys could see me do it live and actually screw up once or twice, which you guys actually did see. So good day for you. But guys, big news, as if you didn't see or didn't hear when we were more casually talking about it, Maurice Cheeks is going to the New York Knicks as an assistant coach, and the first instinct I had was to worry about Knicks associate head coach Johnny Bryant. As Maurice Cheeks has been a head coach multiple times in the NBA already, it does mean that something we will be seeing now is a chance that Maurice Cheeks could take over for that associate head coach role, and a guy like Johnny Bryant, who has been one of the front runners to coach the Cleveland Cavaliers, someone who is very good friends with Donovan Mitchell, could end up going there. Now, he's not the front runner. There are guys who also have gotten that interview. According to Michael A. Scotto in the process, James Borrego is a candidate. Kenny Atkinson is certainly a candidate. There are some guys, Chris Quinn, Dave Yeager, former coach of the Memphis Grizzlies and Sacramento Kings, who could come in and coach the Cleveland Cavaliers. So all hopes do kind of indicate that the New York Knicks could be keeping Johnny Bryant, and I hope they do not downgrade him out of associate head coach back to being a guards coach. He was very tight with Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett. He's an excellent developmental guy. It's something like that where you really think that Johnny Bryant does matter. I think he's kind of being groomed to be the Knicks head coach if the New York Knicks do not bring in UConn head coach, whose name I'm forgetting right now, so I'm just going to talk right through it while one of you probably comments that, or if you could, to bail me out. This happens in videos sometimes. I just absolutely lose it, and I'm like, I don't know this guy's name, and I have 5 minutes to recover it in my head, or I'm just going to look dumb. Maurice Cheeks was a Knick back in the day, so yeah, they are bringing in a former Knick in the process, and that I like to see. You like to see former Knicks, like when Rick Brunson was here. You like to see things be family business, as this has worked out in the past for the New York Knicks. So jumping right into things with that front, you have to imagine someone like Johnny Bryant, who came over from Utah, who used to be a coach for Donovan Mitchell, who the Jazz might be interested in. Dan Hurley is the coach of the UConn team. Thank you to Nelly Nell and Knicks 100 GM. Dan Hurley, well, not Dan Hurley, but I just have to re-say his name just to catch myself up, who he's going to have the same amount of years left on his contract as Tom Thibodeau, so there's a world where Johnny Bryant might get skipped ahead of in the line, and Dan Hurley could come in and coach the New York Knicks for the final 10 to 15 years of his career, as I made a video on the other day that did absolutely horribly, mind you, and I knew it was going to do either really good or really bad, so I flopped. It was just, I sold, guys. I sold. But when you think about a guy like Johnny Bryant, he's someone who definitely is great at being an assistant coach. The reason he is great at being an assistant coach is because he's great with the players. His relationships are perfect. He doesn't have to be a guy who's going to have great relationships, then all of a sudden crack down the whip on you. He's going to be able to be that guy, that friend, that guy who's kind of on the younger side, who doesn't have to also hold the responsibilities of the head coach. Now, this is not saying the Knicks aren't close with Tom Thibodeau. I mean, Tibbs went on the Roommates podcast today. He's obviously got players who will ride for him no matter what. But there's a difference. And having a guy like Johnny Bryant is so important to this team that's really where my mind goes to when bringing in Maurice Cheeks. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy to bring in Cheeks. If the Knicks want to bring in Mo Cheeks to be an assistant head coach or an assistant coach for them, I assume that Mo Cheeks is very good at his job because the Knicks have been doing very well. Tom Thibodeau is coaching the best basketball of his life. So we're looking at situations where that could absolutely happen. But now I am going to check back to the comments. There's a little mini video form for you guys in case you guys like that. And if not, and you just want me to re-talk to you guys and get back to talking to you guys, well, then my bad. But I didn't want to make a full video on it, so now you guys can see that. And I guess I'll mention that somewhere that we broke that down. We'll get back to that also in more of a conversational format. So you like Ryan Dunn? I do like Ryan Dunn because I don't think he's going to have to instantly play. It's someone who you throw in the G League, who you develop an offensive game for down there, understanding what his role is going to be in the NBA, like what Deuce McBride did. Deuce ended up really flourishing because he played in the G League, because he started shooting from 40% from deep there. So it already happened with Deuce. We already saw this successfully work. I think Ryan Dunn is more of a mix between Deuce and OG Anunoby. He's a wing, can be a smaller forward, can guard 4 positions, even though he's a little shorter because he's strong, he's smart. He possesses all the tools to be a great defender in the NBA. The X factor is, can he hit a jump shot, or will he ever be able to hit a jump shot? Now, Tom Thibodeau, you guys are bringing it in. Yeah, no, I mean 100%. New York forever, because he does have size. I'm not saying he's small. He's 6'6", so he can guard 4 positions. NBA nowadays, you're not too many power forwards are over 6'6". Or 6'8", sorry. There's a good amount over 6'6". Who do you like for the Nets? New York Forever. I can't believe your name's New York Forever and you're not a Knicks fan. Or you're just an excellent troll. Tom Thibodeau, as you've never seen him before, his real personality, you'll see him completely different after. Dude, I cannot wait for that. I agree, Johnny Bryant's probably staying. Breaking news! We were pretty evenly matched. Johnny Bryant would be an X factor. He knows all of our secrets. That is a good point. You don't want to lose a guy who knows all your secrets. That definitely helped the Knicks. You have to imagine Johnny Bryant knowing Donovan's game when they were then in Cleveland definitely helped the Knicks win that series in 5. Oubre now being represented by CAA. Oh, yeah, we actually did mention that earlier. Obviously, if you don't want to go back, I'll do a little recap on that. He is joining CAA. He wants more money than what the Knicks can offer him at that $12 million mid-level exception. But here's the good news. Some team might not pay him that. I think Philly will. I think Philly's going to give him 15 for 3 years, especially if, like, Paul George falls through. But it is something to keep an eye out. I would love Kelly Oubre for 18 minutes a night. I think $12 million is fine to give a guy for 18 minutes a night. Because when you look at someone like Dante DiVincenzo, that's really what his role was supposed to be. But then it turned out that he was going to have the best shooting year and, well, in Knicks history. So, you know, it worked out. You don't know what's going to happen with Oubre, but he's a great player. Maurice Cheeks was a Knick back in the day. Oh, yeah. After watching Tom Thibodeau's on JB's show, he absolutely stays. They're absolutely not breaking up that family. Yeah, I think Tibbs, first of all, he's older. He's in his 60s. I think they're going to give him a 5-year extension. He's going to have 6 years left. He's going to coach out those 6 years with the Knicks, be 72 years old, and then just move into some front office role because he'll be in his 70s and maybe he'll just finally be tired. Especially if the Knicks can win a ring in the next 6 years, I think Tibbs will be like, all right, won a ring as a head coach. Now I'll move on to something chiller. I cannot wait to watch that podcast, dude. Why not Brunson Sr. being coach? Who knows? Brunson better than his dad who trained him. Yeah, but Kenny head coach is the question. Maybe, I don't know. It's interesting to think about down the line. Maybe he will be. I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, Leon Rose loves to keep it in the family. That's actually so crazy that we hired Rick Brunson, like, right before we signed Jalen, like, right before the offseason. We're like, hey, we're bringing in your dad. It's going to be awkward if you don't come now, considering, your agent. If you're Leon Rose, it's like, hey, I just brought in your dad, and I'm your agent's dad, so you're coming, dude, and we're going to give you a bag to do so. And it worked out, and he's one of the most underpaid players in basketball. Gary Trent Jr., 6'4", is my concern. Josh is also 6'4", though he obviously plays way bigger than that. He still is short. If you're fine with the short bench, that's fine. I kind of am. I look real fat at this angle. Oh, well. What are you going to do? I guess lose weight, but I don't know. That doesn't matter. I don't know, guys. I'm doing my best here. I'm an hour in. Once I get an hour, 10 minutes in, like right now, that's when we start to get that's when I start to get really loose with you guys. When I'm like, all right, well, I'm so formal in the videos. Even for, like, my joking manner, I feel like I'm way more formal. Here, I recline the seat. I just kind of mess around. You guys get to know the real Chris a little bit better. Like that dude Brandon who found me in the bar. I hope he doesn't mind that I just said his name on the internet because I did not bother to change his name. Royce O'Neal, Bodega Wi-Fi. So I actually opened up this just because I like you, so I'll recount this for you because you're my guy. You guys don't need to see all my thigh like that. I'm sorry. With Royce O'Neal, Fred Katz recently released an article talking about 10 different free agents the Knicks are looking at for the mid-level exception or really could look for. And one of them was Royce O'Neal, someone who I would actually love to give the money to. But it also predicates on, are you going to use Bogdanovich in some sort of a trade? Because you have a player like Bogdanovich, and don't get me wrong, they're different types of players. Royce is a great defender. Bogdanovich doesn't play defense. Bogdanovich is a better shooter than Royce. There's differences, don't get me wrong. But how much better is Royce O'Neal than Bojan Bogdanovic that you're going to also pay him while you're paying Bojan? There's going to be other Royce O'Neals out there in a year from now. Like, when you think about it. I think it makes sense. Dunn is shorter at 6'6", but his wingspan is 7'2". No, absolutely. He can guard 1 through the 4. He could even guard probably sub-5s who are shorter. Like, I don't know, Kevon Looney type. Maybe he'll be on the Knicks. I'm a Noah Clowney fan. I hated on Noah Clowney last time around. I got no problem with Noah Clowney. I thought you guys had a good draft last year with Dariq Whitehead and Noah Clowney. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Nets. I just think the Nets, I don't think their problem is who they're drafting. I think they have a development issue. And I know they developed Clax, but that was a bit ago. Like, I worry about the Nets' issue to develop players But also, again, Cam Thomas and Clax instantly come to mind. So maybe I'm just stupid. Like, CAA Mafia's newest member, Kelly Oubre Jr., baby. And Kelly Oubre Jr., tough guy. Got hit by, what, 2 cars or something? Dude's doing his thing anyway. That was kind of insensitive. I'm sorry, Kelly. You're a good dude. Royce, Tyus, DeAnthony Melton. I still have the tweet up. Kyle Anderson, who I like the idea of. Not, again, that predicates on what's happening with Boyan, though. Jonas Valanciunas, someone who the Knicks could easily go for if they lose Hartenstein. Goga Bitadze, someone who I would love for the Knicks to go for if they lose Hartenstein. The guy is an elite defender. Can't hit a free throw for the life of him, so you got 2 Mitches, which is a bit of a fear when, the end of the games happens and you can play hack. Kevon Looney, kind of interested in, I guess. I don't know if he's going to work outside that Warrior system, though. Still a great rebounder. Jalen Smith, versatile. Nice try on Kevon Looney. I'm sorry, Kevon Looney. I think a trade for Matisse Thybulle to back up OG and signing Tyus Jones would be huge for us if we run it back. That's the thing. Matisse is a cheap option. But don't you kind of think Ryan Dunn's a similar player with a higher ceiling at this point? That's the thing. I'd rather just use a draft pick on Ryan Dunn, someone who at the very least, is going to be a Matisse-esque player. And he's cheaper. But also, I see your reasoning on Matisse. I actually like Matisse as a player. Rick Brunson worked out Obi with Brunson prior to the draft. He's been doing things for this organization. I did not know that. That is insane. Dude, the New York Knicks, man, they keep it in the family for good reason. I mean, look, even Obi, who the Knicks had that divorce with, it doesn't seem like there's too much bad blood. I mean, Obi's still part of CAA, I believe, and we got Jacob here. What do we got in the comments? Deuce McBride, he went on Bev's show and looks so small on TV. You see him there. He looks like a giant. Dude, that's the thing. I mean, at the end of the day, some of these NBA players look small, and then you got Deuce McBride, who's 6'3" and is taller than most people. Like, it's insane. NBA players are so tall. And I'm a very, very tall person. I'm 6'4". But, like, NBA players are huge, dude. I'm a bit wider than NBA players, though. Those guys are so skinny. Like, NBA players, almost as an entirety, are so thin. I almost cursed. You guys probably heard it. I'd get demonetized. That's the problem. That's why I don't curse. If I was allowed to curse, if I wasn't going to get demonetized or in trouble by Digest Media, I'd curse way more. But, such is life. I'm just happy to be able to talk about sports for a job. It's the most fun thing ever. R.I.P. Jerry West, man. Very few people, if anyone, have done more for the sport than Jerry West. I don't think they should change him as the logo. The only reason why I think it'd be interesting to change Jerry West as the logo is because Jerry West said that he shouldn't be the logo. Like, Jerry West has been out there like, nah, I should not be the logo anymore. And if you don't want it to be Jerry West, I don't even know who you put in there. Like, there's not a good answer. No one's been as good of an ambassador for the game who's very clearly been a good person, has helped so many teams succeed both as a player and as an executive. Like, one of the best dudes in basketball history. Sucks that he died, but also he was 86. My hair looks crazy right now. It sucks that Jerry West died, obviously, but, living to 86 is a good life. And the man lived every moment of it as one of the best basketball minds and players in history. As in the middle of talking about Jerry West, I messed with my hair. I'm just a terrible human being, I guess. I don't know. If they change the logo, it should be Michael Jordan. Jordan makes sense to a degree because, the influence thing. Like, he was, for all intents and purposes, no one was a superstar celebrity in basketball outside of Bird and Magic before Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan took it to a different level. There's not an iconic pose for Magic Johnson, or I would say Magic is a good answer. Michael Jordan, there obviously is, but also Michael Jordan, if you make that the logo, it's it's the Jordan logo. I agree with New York Forever, I will say that, on the most recent comments. But when you look at Michael Jordan, his logo would also have to be the NBA logo. That's such a conflict of interest money-wise. It'll never happen. Like, financially, we're never going to see Michael Jordan become the logo of the NBA because of financial reasons. Like, if we're being honest, it's just not going to happen. Are you really going to look at Michael Jordan and be like, hey, you're about to get paid like crazy because now you're the NBA logo, and you can't tell Michael Jordan to change his logo. He just can't. You can't do that. You can't steal it, or he sues you and makes a ton of money. Michael Jordan probably would sue the NBA if he had to. So you just have to think about things that way. Brandon Ingram, probably, around 190 pounds. Height weighs a lot, dude. Like, just height in general will make you heavier. He's 6'7", so I'd say he's around 190, maybe 200. Thin, though. Also one of those people who probably looks thinner, or probably weighs more than he looks. Like KD, who's like 240. He doesn't look it, but he is. Bron would crush MJ in a one-on-one. I agree. Bron's just bigger. Michael Jordan would not be able to stop LeBron downhill, and that's not a knock on Michael Jordan. It's just a size thing. Like, I don't think LeBron could really successfully guard MJ very well either, but I think he'd have a better chance because Jordan played in a physical era. If they're playing physical basketball, the guy who has had every single chance to become a superhuman, who probably takes steroids, who absolutely spends millions and millions and probably has spent upward of $15 million on his body throughout his NBA career, is going to beat the guy who was drinking Coca-Cola on the bench. I'm sorry, that's going to happen. Jalen Brunson, there you go. Jalen Brunson should be the logo. Damn, there's no way. I don't think I have a photo of Jalen Brunson here. I can do this. I can do a super chat. There we go. Jalen Brunson, that photo of him in a cape. To be fair, Brunson Ingram was probably... Brunson Ingram. I cannot read, guys. That's a shame. It's a shame that I can't read as an adult. Yes, Maurice Cheeks to the Knicks. Welcome, Coach Nostalgic Nick. I don't know if you popped out of the chat for a bit doing something. That's fine if you did, but we actually did break that down. I did kind of a mini 6-minute video on it. If you want to rewind somewhere, you could probably find it. You don't think Ryan Dunn might not be ready for playoffs next year? I get the point that Matisse Thybulle will get minutes right out. Well, yeah, no. I understand what you're saying, 100%. I don't think Ryan Dunn will probably be ready for playoffs next year. But with Matisse, you're trusting a guy who can't shoot the ball at all, which is fine. Doesn't have to. But there's just that worry. And also, I just would rather wait 2 to 3 years on Ryan Dunn than insert Matisse Thybulle for like 10 minutes a night, if that makes sense with you. Yeah, no problem, Nostalgic Nick. I'm here for y'all. Oh, I appreciate it, dude. Felt like doing a mini video in the middle of the podcast, because the other option is not the podcast, the live stream, but it's kind of a podcast in a way, if you think about it. Whole thing kind of is. But the other option was I end the stream early to make a video on Maurice Cheeks and have to stretch that out for 8 to 10 minutes at a time. There's times, and this was back in the day, like before Darielle and I had been doing this for a while, where we'd actually message each other and be like, dog, how the hell am I supposed to make 8 minutes on this? Like, what do I talk about? Because Darielle joined like 2 weeks after me. So, because there was 2 other people here before us, and it's now just our channel. And he'd be like, dude, I don't know how I'm going to get to 9 minutes on this, 8-9 minutes. I'm like, oh, I have no idea. I usually at 7 minutes just start talking to like the fans. I'm like, well, let me know what you guys think down below. So another secret of the channel. If very early at like 7 minutes I start talking to you guys, part of the reason is I just like to catch up with y'all because y'all are cool as hell. But it's also, I probably ran out of things to say. Honestly. You learn little tricks of things. Skyhook logo would be so cool. Kareem would be cool. That's a great one. I also think Kareem is unarguably the 3rd best player in basketball history. I don't think he's better than LeBron or MJ. Whoever you want to put first is fine. I think it's a tie. And then there's no one as good as him. Especially, and when it comes to, if you add college into NBA and just say who's the greatest from college to NBA all time, it's Kareem. Guy's just a massive winner. Oh, yeah, I did a Reggie Miller video. It's not out, though. That's the thing. It was supposed to drop this morning, and there were some technical difficulties on my end, and, well, I was unfortunately not able to get that video out. I still will try to. I don't think it will do as well, but I'll still try to throw it out there for y'all. Just because I don't make as many, I'm less available on the weekend, so sometimes I have to throw some videos out ahead of time, or record videos ahead of time, I should say. But when you look at a guy like Reggie Miller, well, Reggie's just kind of, he's a hater. He's not even that great all time. People overrate the hell out of him because of one moment he had in a series against the Knicks that he lost. Like, I truly do not understand how Reggie Miller has gained such a following. I don't think he's that great all time, personally. That makes sense. Size matters so much. Josh Hart at power forward is unacceptable. It's working to a degree, but there's times like against Pascal Siakam where it just didn't work. There was no option, and that was hard. That's why you could use some extra size. It's why maybe Matisse Thybulle doesn't make the most sense because he's 6'5". If he was 6'8", I'd feel differently. Yeah, Jalen Brunson should be the logo. How much time we at? All right, we're gonna wrap this thing up in 10 minutes. The least successful stream of them all. Damn, guys, I'm sorry. Couldn't really pop out as much, but we're still gonna talk. We're literally gonna talk, and then I'll end it in the final 10 seconds. Like, all right, I'm out. Just because. Let's talk ball. As Reggie Miller said, the Knicks think they're God's gift to basketball. If it wasn't for the Knicks, no one would care about Reggie Miller. Exactly. He made, what, 5 All-Star teams in his entire career? Like, he made 5 All-Star teams, dude. I don't understand why everyone's all on Reggie Miller like he's the GOAT. Siakam did look nice. He looked real good against the Knicks, and that's because all of our team was injured. But as much as we can say that for ourselves, I love to talk about how I think the Pacers are not even a top 6 team in the Eastern Conference. Give me the Celtics, Knicks, 76ers, Heat, Cavs, and Magic all over the Pacers. I think they all win. I think the Chicago Bulls are arguably better than the Pacers, or at least would have done a better job against the Celtics if they were all healthy. Not Lonzo. Lonzo doesn't exist anymore. Put someone taller on Siakam, like Anunoby. Exactly, dude. That's the thing. Like, Anunoby was locking Pascal up and had him in jail those 2 games, and then Anunoby goes down with the hamstring in the middle of Game 3. Dude, I wasn't even watching Game 3. I was at a Yankee game, and I'm just vibing, and then I hear Jalen Brunson went to the locker room while I'm sitting in Yankee Stadium. I'm like, oh, I don't care anymore. And there's, like, these dudes in front of me who are like, yo, what's happening? Is he okay? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm freaking out. And then it's like, all right, Brunson's okay, but OG is injured. And I'm like, how? We were so unlucky, dude. Celtics, Knicks, Heat, 76ers, Cavs. Oh my God, the Bucks. Yeah, there's 7 teams better. Knicks, Celtics, 76ers, Heat, Cavs, Magic, Bucks. There's 7 teams better than the Pacers. You know this year the only reason the Pacers got 6 is due to a tiebreaker they won. Well, we would have played them in the first round then. And we would have won! But if all the injuries happen, then the 76ers just go to the Eastern Conference Finals anyway. I hope Josh Hart catches Reggie Miller's comment. I think they talked. Did they not talk about it on the pod? I thought they did. Damn. That's something. Guys, who is your favorite Knicks role player of all time? Let me know down below. Random topic, because I just thought of it right now. He has a 6'11" wingspan. He's one of the best defenders in the NBA. He would have done a way better job. You're absolutely right. No, you're 100% right. Like, I'm not going to argue that. You're right. That I'm not saying that. Well, I guess that one point that I made. Yeah, no, you're right. Again though, I'd rather wait on Ryan Dunn money wise. It's a little cheaper, but no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, 2K hates Randle. They don't love Brunson either. Like, they just don't like the Knicks in general. Mitchell Robinson's real low for someone who's great when he's healthy, but it's hard to tell. I think Michael Jordan beat Reggie Miller up once. I have no idea. Dude, Siakam is overrated by 2K. Siakam's not bad. He's not a bad player, but he's just not a great player. Like, yeah, he's a back-end all-star. I think Julius Randle is not much better. I think Julius Randle is a mid-ish all-star. Like, I don't know. I'd say Siakam's like, 12 guys? 13 guys make the All-Star game? 13 guys make the All-Star game? So, I'd say Siakam's like the 11th man on an All-Star game team, and Julius is like a 9th, 10th, or 9th, 8th. 2K acting like he had some kind of mental case. Dude, OG Anunoby is so disrespected by 2K. The man's defense is as good as anyone's in the NBA. It really is. He can guard 4 positions so effectively. The only on-ball defenders who I think are probably better than him, Herb Jones, maybe Drew Holiday. But Drew and OG are different. They guard different positions. Even though, like, Drew can, like the way OG can guard 4 positions, Drew can guard 4 positions, but primarily Drew's guarding guards, where primarily OG's guarding forwards. So there's a bit of a difference with them. They got into a fight once in a game. Yeah, I mean, Reggie Miller, not afraid to scrap. Gotta respect that. To be fair, OG would be an 85 if you raise... Dude, his intangibles shouldn't be a 99 because it's like intangibles are like the little things. That's why he's a 60. But the man's got to have an 85. I mean, that defense is so good. He should be an 85. Like, I don't think he should be anything higher. I think he should be an 85. Brunson should be a 94. I don't think anything crazy. Also, 2K ratings got too high, guys. J.R. Smith, random Knicks role player. Great. A little better than a random Knicks role player, but, you know, I'd count it. Just because I like J.R. Smith, one of my favorite players of all time. So happy he won a second ring doing nothing. No, he does have great intangibles. That's why I said it. The intangibles should be like, I don't know, 85. Same as his rating. He should be an 85. Do you guys remember when 2K, like, being a 94 in 2K meant you were LeBron or Kevin Durant in, like, 2K14? And now it's like being a 94 means you're, like, one of 10 players? Like, that's insane to think about. It really is nuts. 2K's ratings, 2K fell off a cliff, dude. I love 2K. I still do. I love 2K. 2K24 was fun for 2 months. I love Play Now Online. I have not touched 2K in months outside of, like, doing, like, rebuilds. That's the only fun thing to do still, and it is so unrealistic, it makes me want to throw my PS4 controller right out my window. PS5 controller right out my window. I don't know why I had to correct you guys, like I want to flex or something. Though my PS5 actually is in the camera right now. Acting like he's some kind of mental case. To be fair, OG would be an 85. I tested it. OG is great intangibles. Yeah, Tatum is not a 96, dude. Tatum's a 91. He's not a top 10 player in the NBA. He's just not. I just don't think Tatum's that. Still have NBA Live 95. That's insane. That is nuts. NBA Live 95 is kind of crazy. We got 62 people watching. I'm actually watching from my burner on this. So I can check up. It's a little easier to check through that. It also gives me the extra view. No view on taken. And I'm watching an ad right now on my phone from that. Yeah, you guys are kind of getting to know the real me on this. I do not hide who I am as a person. If you live in New York, I'm not going to tell you where I live, but I live near Madison Square Garden, which is enough. If you're in New York and you're going out, and I typically go out nowhere more north than, like, I don't know, 36th Street, 34th Street. That's a big street, 34th. I usually stay on the more eastern side of Manhattan. Or, yeah, but also the more southern side of Manhattan. If you guys are ever out, you come see me. I'm probably going to be very similar to this right now. Probably just going to dap you up. Feel free to always come say hi if you ever see me. I don't know. Just a heads up in case you guys ever see me. Like, yo, I don't know. I'm not some celebrity, so it's pretty easy. You're just like, yo, Knicks fan. I'm like, yep. It's pretty sick. Yeah. Yeah, he's not a top 10 player, but he is about to be a world champion. And guess what? No matter what you want to say, probably the best player on that team anyway. I know he's not playing well. Had a good game last game, but I know he's not very, like, having a great year. But still. I think that... I don't know, man. I think that Jason Tatum's overrated. You stay below 80 for 86th. Did I say that? I do stay below 86th Street. I thought you said 8. Wow, I'm losing my mind, guys. I am exhausted. Anthony Edwards, hype. Yeah, dude, he went up 5 overalls for no reason. Or not for no reason, but for aggressive reason. Yeah, dude, it's nuts. Like, it's really crazy. 86th Street, you're in the jungle. Yeah, dude, I will say this. As I said, I live right near MSG. So if you know where MSG is, I'm very close by. I usually even go more southern than that, if anything. It's just where my friends live. Where everyone who I hang out with, they all live in the same, like, area pretty much, except for one of them. So it's pretty easy. It's not too many people north of me. If that makes sense. They glaze Ant because they do. They think Ant can be the next face of the NBA. Because the way he plays is so exciting, and he's not pulling guns like John Morant, who had the world at his fingertips but wanted to act like an idiot. I don't even care what you want to do with your life like that, but, like, why are you being dumb? Stop being an idiot, Ja. Like, you can make so much money. Don't screw it up. Anthony Edwards is mad disrespectful as a player. We did not forget what he said about RJ Barrett. We still remember that. We ride with RJ. I don't care where RJ is. I'm riding with RJ. RJ's the dude. I wish nothing but the best for RJ Barrett's career, man, honestly. He's just great guy. Obviously went through something rough very recently. Just a good dude. But yeah, you grew up in the Bronx? Hey, I love the Bronx. Mainly, Yankee Stadium, dude. Sound like such a person who does not live in New York right there. I swear I do. I swear I live in New York. I'm gonna be honest, if Ja had his head on ready to be the face of the league for a minute, absolutely! They made it Edwards because Edwards isn't pulling out guns. Ja just wants to make dumb decisions. And I don't care about any of that political part of it. Just like, dude, stop flashing a gun at people. You don't seem tough. You seem like a dummy who's wasting talent by getting suspended. Are we still doing the best role player from the... Yeah, we can do it real quick. Real quick. 5 minutes. Best role player of your lifetime. I want to hear what you guys have to say about that. Or best role player of your fandom, really. So for me, that started around 2011 when I was 8 or 9. Mine has to be JR. DiVincenzo is very close. Yeah, Ja's an elite athlete. New York forever. I know you're not a Knicks fan. If you have a favorite Knicks role player, comment it down below. If you have a favorite Nets one you want to throw in there. I know enough about the Nets I could probably hang. Who, honestly, do you guys think is just the greatest role player in NBA history? Let's pivot to that for a few seconds. Does Josh... Yes, he does. And that does make him the best role player of my life. And I'm the Knicks fan here, so that's embarrassing. Dude, JR, I just grew up on JR and Iman Shumpert. Those are my guys. I might have mentioned this before on a live stream. If not, I don't know if I'm really supposed to be mentioning this, but I doubt it's a problem. Look up that interview of J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert on Good Morning America and tell me those two did not smoke a ton of weed prior to that. They look so high and are acting it, and it's really funny. Dude, Dennis Smith Jr., why is he less athletic now? Like, I feel like he's not doing the same stuff. Pippen was not a role player. Abandoned buildings and graffitis and shit. Oh, yeah, the 80s, dude. My parents are from New York also, so they grew up in the 80s, too. They know. They get the vibe. My mom is from the projects. But yeah. We're going until 8:35. Last minute stuff. I want the Knicks to draft Kel'el Ware and Ryan Dunn. If they do that at 24 and 25, I think they're calling that an excellent draft. I'll be honest. I just got to be honest. I think that is an excellent draft that you do. You should have seen Times Square back in the days. I don't think I want to. Look. Oh, yeah, no, I know he has a ton of injuries, but it's like, it is sad that he lost athleticism. Dude, it's crazy that he had like 2 ACLs or something. Dennis Rodman, I didn't watch. I didn't exist back then, so I can't really tell you if he was a role player. He kind of was, though, wasn't he? Like, he's not scoring that much. He's leading the league in rebounds, but a lot of the time, the best rebounder in the NBA, you look at as a role player. Like, yeah, Sabonis isn't, but like, very often you look at a guy like Andre Drummond right now. It's like, yeah, he's a role player. He's also a phenomenal rebounder who could probably rebound with anyone in the NBA right now. That's why I think he'd be an excellent replacement for Hartenstein to tie it back into this video's original topic that we started with. Guys, it has been a fun hour and a half. I really like Dennis Smith Jr. because Dennis Smith Jr. has that dog in him. You got to give it to the guy. Oh, man, I thought he was going to be so good. I thought Dennis Smith Jr. was going to be so good. I was so upset when the Knicks did not get the chance to draft him because they instead, they didn't instead pick Frank. The Mavericks took Dennis Smith 1 pick before them. I kind of knew Frank was going to be a bust. I never wanted to say it. I always hyped him up like, nah, he's going to be really good. He's got great mid-range, great passing, and it was just not good at all. He's out of the NBA, but I love Frank anyway. 'Cause dude was just cool. It's like the coolest dude ever. Like, if you just check out Frank's Instagram, you're like, oh, that's a cool guy. Like, that dude gets up to some cool stuff. These players will pick up full court, including McBride. Yeah, they're very important. Dude, on the Pat Bev podcast when Deuce McBride was on it, the way Beverly was talking about the Knicks makes you think that he wants to play for the Knicks. That dude on a Thibodeau team would be so fun. I'd be so down. I don't know where you find the minutes, but that would be so fun to see. I would really like that. Dude, I thought Donovan Mitchell was going to suck, too. I did not see it at all with Donovan Mitchell. I was like, no, this guy can't really shoot very well. He's like mainly just driving and doing that, and he's a combo guard at that. I don't see how he becomes good. Then he pulls up in the NBA. He's like, oh, no, I could shoot. What are you talking about? Because he didn't shoot well in Louisville. You can check. He just did not shoot that well in Louisville. I don't know what happened, but shout out to Donovan Mitchell because he just seems cool. And, you know, he's from New York. You gotta give the love. He doesn't fit with Brunson, but it'd be so cool to have Donovan Mitchell on the team. Papev super... Exactly. I think he could contribute 10 minutes per game for the Knicks and just give that energy boost that I wouldn't even say they need, but you got that dog outside of Josh Hart. You got another dog like that in a completely different way. Same beast, different animal, like something like that. I think it'd be absolutely awesome to watch that. And yeah, others called Demish a defender. Dude, he was. He was a slashing defender, to put it into 2K archetype terms. That's what he was. He was not a good shooter from three at all. Not a good shooter. Like, I'm looking this up for y'all. Mitchell stats. College. I'm telling you guys, he could not hit a three in college. 33% three-point percentage as a college basketball player from a shorter distance. This guy who's now one of the best mid-range shooters in the NBA in Donovan Mitchell. Like, that's nuts to think about. Especially now, if you go to his shooting splits. Like, you could tell. He's really improved that part of his game. Because I guess he knew he couldn't be a high flyer forever. All-star the last 5 seasons. That's not stopping anytime soon. The man can score like anyone in the league. I wish he fit with the Knicks. I really do like Donovan Mitchell a lot as a player. I don't like the Cavs at all is my problem. Yeah, I mean, Donovan, shoots 54% on 2-pointers? That's unreal. That is unreal. Donovan Mitchell, excellent shooter. Position estimates. Love those. Position estimates are so fun to look at. Now you guys are just watching me play around on a screen that you guys can't even see. I'm just playing around on Basketball Reference. Yeah. Field goal percentage by distance. 10 to 16 feet, 46%. In college, somewhere like, obviously 3 points farther, but like a guy who was not really shooting at all was there. 16 to 3-point percent. 16 feet to 3-point range. You got 45%. A guy who couldn't really shoot the ball that well in college. 3-point percent, 37. The guy's an incredible talent, man. We have Tibbs run a lot of these guys into important players. We traded him for Rose, Dennis Smith. True. We did. We traded him to Detroit. Rose, Dennis Smith in 2 seconds for Derrick Rose. I was in the shower when that was happening. Sophomore in college. Tibbs will get the most out of any player. Absolutely. But you have to be part of that grouping. You have to be part of that mentality. And I think a lot of people are. However, guys, this ran longer than I expected. So, final words. Anything we got. Whatever you want to say on the matter. What are we at? We're at 50 viewers. I'm going to close out on my own phone because we're wrapping this thing up right about now. If you play defense, Tibbs is the job for you. That's why Ryan Dunn fits, dude. He's going to play defense. They're going to give him a little bit of burn. He'll probably appear in like 25 games his rookie year, mainly playing the G League, ball out, do his thing. He's a 24th or 25th pick. He's not going to be brought in with instant expectations, and that's fine. You develop him the same way you develop Deuce. You have another defensive monster on your hands for Tom Thibodeau to work really well. Is he... I have to imagine Tibbs knows what's going on with the draft process. The man is obsessed with basketball. I don't think he's losing out on this. And Tibbs doesn't hate rookies. He just thinks there's a way to develop them. And a lot of his rookies have been later picks anyway. So, you know. But all right, guys, you know what? Thank you all for tuning in to this third ever Knicks Digest live stream. We're going to keep doing these usually every Thursday. Sometimes I might have to switch up. Great show. Hit the likes. Thank you, AP. I might try to do this a little bit more often in the summer. Maybe when I'm bored on like a 3 p.m. Tuesday or something, I'll start doing these. If you guys are at work, want to tune in secretly or something, if your work allows you to do that. But regardless, exactly, he discussed this in the roommates show. Like, that's what I mean. Tibbs knows what's going on. But guys, I'll catch y'all. I won't lie. I'm going to go get some pizza or something because New York's the best city in the world. Go Knicks.